Hello fellow builders and welcome back to the bench. Mediocre Marley here. We're starting on our next project, which is the fifth element, Firestone. Now there were 4 stones. Not one, not two, not three, but four stones. I'm sorry. I'm just going to warn you. The movie is kind of quotable and that's going to happen a lot.
Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4! 4 stones!
It depends. It could happen. It could happen a lot. But with if I'm gonna do a stone, I'm gonna do the one that was the high point of the end of the movie, which is the Firestone. I could do all 4, but for the sake of space, and if I was gonna do all 4, I've got a diorama in mind that I could do where I could make a smaller set and print all 4 of them. But you really don't need all 4. In theory, it's overkill. If you go to someone's display and you see it, and if you know, you know. Now, the stones are large, and they were so big, in fact, that I couldn't print it in one piece on my printer. But I did notice in the process that I thought I was being smart. I put it on there and I dropped it down by 50% and I had it print one half, and then I told it to flip it 180 and print the other half. But as I was getting these pieces together, I noticed that this mark here is the same as this mark here. So somehow I got off. And I figured I'm going to have to cut off at least this much to get me where I need to be. Either way, at one point the diva says, the stones are in me. And if she had 4 of these in her, I'm like, oh my God, that's a big woman. Which I think they do show her as being pretty big. But the first thing we want to do is kind of get this where it needs to be to the right side. The other problem I had was, for some reason, when I was printing it, I got this on both ends. I think I know why. I had to stop the print because it was a long print. And when I restarted it, I think somehow it did not cure into itself back together, because I got the same thing on the bottom half. This one wasn't that bad. All I did was get some sheet styrene and just stuck the sheet styrene in there, glued it in, and then sanded it down to where it's pretty smooth. It probably could use a little bit. It feels raised still a little bit, so it needs a little bit more sanding. This end, however, this end's going to be the one that's going to, I didn't want to just stuff layers of styrene in there. So on this one, I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to use some 2-part epoxy and get that in there, get it sanded and smoothed all out. And there's a little scratch, a little indent in the, so that's supposed to be an extension of that, right? And, well, yeah, that one and that one. So what we'll do is we'll get some putty in there, get it all smooth, and then we'll have to continue that detail on so that looks like one continuous scratch. But the first thing I want to do is get this sized appropriately. And so I took my calipers, figured out about how much I need to cut down, and that's my line. So off to the shed we go to get this where it needs to be.
Last call for Floston Paradise. Hurry up.
So originally when I printed these, I printed it on the bed, so this surface was on the bed, and it would have been nice to be able to just glue the two together, because then I knew that both the two mating surfaces were going to be flat. So hopefully we're going to cut this down. Clearance, yeah. I'm going to cut it down on the bandsaw here, and I've got it hooked up to the rip fence So it should be a nice, even, straight cut. This also, it's been UV cured already. I've tried to cut, I have cut in the past uncured prints, and I think there's just a little bit, I'm finding it's better to cure it and then cut it, as opposed to doing it the other way. But let's see what we get. Okay, pretty dang good. And the nice thing is, that could be a base for another model. So we're going to hold on to that. You never know. But back to the house. Let's continue on with our build here. Did our job properly. That's nice. Nope, wrong way. Well, you know. But nothing that can't be. Why is that? Okay. Right there. That back piece. Yeah. Oh. Yeesh. Maybe I need to get a better fence. Well, but okay. On the back side, those two line up just the way they're supposed to. We might do a little bit of sanding on that. See if we can't level that out a little bit. Put the detail sander on that, or you know what? We could take it back out to the shed and put it on the disc sander. But the main thing I want to address was this gap here. So to fix that, what we're going to do, we're going to use this two-part plumber's putty. And again, another one of those situations where it kind of stinks, but not so much that we need to go out to the shed. You might serve yourself good by using some neoprene gloves, possibly, but we're just gonna do this. So it's been a while since I've used it, so this outer edge is really dry. So we'll just cut that off and not use it. You can get any major hardware store, and it keeps for a long time. I've had this a while. Just gotta kind of eyeball how much you're gonna need. Yeah, how much you're gonna need, because once you cut it, fold that back over, put it back in the tube. Hopefully it won't dry out as badly. Put the cut side down so it bottoms out to the bottom of the tube. Alright, and then do this together. What I probably should have done is gone in here with my Dremel. Yeah, I can do this real quick. Give it some tooth, give it something to bite into. Man, I can already feel it starting to cure on me. Work faster. back a little bit on the surface stuff, so that's less that I'll have to sand later. It's not much. Ooh, yep, I can feel it. It's starting to really set up good. Continuation of a crevice. I'm going to go on ahead and cut that in now, sculpt that in now. Like it. Hard as steel in 15 to 20 minutes. Maybe sanded, filed, painted, or drilled, tapped in 1 hour. So, we're gonna give it its hour. While that's curing, I'm gonna run back out and see if we can flatten that out a bit. Well, my apologies. I filmed this whole segment on getting this guy together, and somehow it wasn't recording, or there was a glitch, but we'll just have to go over it again. Basically, ended up sanding down. I took the time to run to the store while this was curing and grab some sanding heads for the detail sander and knock that down. Took the Dremel, put a rounded grinding bit on there to make our contours in here that were in the stone to connect the two pieces there. We did one there. That one made it up pretty good, so no big deal. And then we started our puttying. I take that back. So instead of just hoping and praying and gluing the two pieces together, I took some styrene pieces and I cut 3 pieces as sleeves, glued them halfway in, let that glue set up, tested it to make sure it would slide on easily, and then we went on ahead and attached the two. Now all we're waiting for is this Bondo to dry so I could probably go on ahead and add my Bondo to the center, because this is all going to have to be sanded down again to make it nice and smooth, just like glass. So that was not a quote from The Fifth Element. We're getting down to the last little bits of our Bondo. But we're just gonna get it on. And that's the thing. With model building, sanding is in your future. There's no way around it. There's no way to run and hide from it. It's just all part of the game. It's all part of the show. Again, not from Fifth Element. Come on. I will say applying Bondo or putty can be a bit of an art form. Not saying I'm doing it well. I'm just saying it is a bit of an art form. He's more skilled Bondo man. I just always have to fight my urge to be conservative. That's the thing. Because the Bondo it sands off. So need to get it down in those crevices. Crevices that you want them in, not the ones that are supposed to be there for detail. These straight layer lines. Now, my friend, we wait for it to dry. I was incorrect. When I first started sanding on some of this, I thought I didn't have anything more coarse than a 180. I actually do have an 80, but I didn't want to go back all the way down to 80. So I dropped down to a 120 and I did a pass of 120. And then after that came up pretty good, I went back and did a 180 pass and then rinsed it off and hand sanded it with a 120. I can see little spots where, right there, that's where the glue had cured and made a little spot. I know it's going to need more sanding, but I won't know how much until I get a coat of primer on here, some flat black on here, just to kind of see where my seams are. I don't want the seams to be visible. Now, the paint I plan on using is a textured paint in stone, so that may hide the seam a little bit, but I'd rather hedge my bets and go into it with as seamless a joint as possible. So we're going to let this dry a little bit more. I think I'm going to we're going to put a coat of flat black on here and see where, not flat black, let's go with gray. I'm going to go with gray and see what the primer looks like and see where we need to go in and touch up some sanding. Ooh, that even sounds good. I like that. Yeah, once we tap it into the brakes or whatever, hit the resonance tone of the thing and it shatter. Yep, so gonna let it dry. There's still a little bit of moisture in some of the fire waves there. I'm gonna let that dry out and we're gonna shoot it with some primer. It's too tall to stand up in here, right? I can't really, so I want to lay it down, but I guess for two sides it's fine, and then when I go to do the top piece, I can raise it on something, but you need to just get some primer on here. Okay. That looks pretty good. If anything, maybe a couple of more wet passes to just blend it a little bit, but we'll let that dry and see where we get. My impatience got the best of me, so I went on ahead and started the shadowing. All the deep crevices and cracks needed to have some dark paint down in there because the lighter surface paint wasn't going to be able to get down there, so I wanted to make sure the cracks showed through. I've done a little practice on surface texture because you know the rule, use what you got. And from the Rocketeer, I've got some railroad grout that I can mix into the paint. So let's get this on here first and see where we get. I feel like I'm doing a couple of things at the same time, and I'm not explaining either one of them well. So I'll keep talking about sanding and getting as smooth as glass. The main reason I want to do that is I'm trying to eliminate seams. But at the same time, since it's going to be covered by texture, I really don't need to cover them because the texture should do it. And then the whole shading, I'm trying to do the shading. And there comes a point when you're working on it and you're going, okay, I got it, I'm doing it, I got it, I'm doing it. And then you go, oh, I totally screwed that up. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm thinking, I totally screwed that up. It's not quite what I'm wanting. And then there's the texture. So this is the texture material that I had for the Rocketeer. And the problem I have with it is A, it feels too small, and B, it's too uniform. So I went out and picked up some of this railroad grout. So I'm gonna see what that looks like. The main thing was I needed to have a base color down just in case I didn't want any gray to show up underneath the surface texture. And it may not matter. But what we're gonna do, I just want to get some of this on here and let it dry and see what it's like. And then I can paint over that. I can add some more paint on top of it. And I have another idea that I'm thinking about doing, but I just need to see what this looks like on here. Again, I think I'm overthinking it. Let's just get a little bit on here and see. Oh, what is going on here? Not down in. And that way I can just sprinkle this on there and it'll stay where I want it to. So this is what we're gonna do. See, that's okay. That's okay. I'm having some second thoughts about how this is gonna go. And I think I just need to set it down and think about it a little bit. Because it's definitely not doing what I want it to do. It's kind of doing it. But it's not right. And I don't know what to do. Okay. Because I think that looks horrible. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to let this dry. And we're going to think about it. And maybe come back to it in an hour. Because it's definitely not doing what I wanted to do. But I do have a couple of different ideas of what I want to try. We can call it Firestone 2.0. But until next time. Till next time, have fun. Be safe. And go build something, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it. Yeah. This is throwing me for a loop. But we're gonna fix it. We're gonna finish it. We're gonna fix it. We're fine. We'll be fine. So we'll see you next time, and we'll come back with some better ideas. All right. Pew 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 pew.